Hello everyone, I am Dr. Kajal Mundada and this is the third video in the series of how to analyze a poem. As I have already discussed it with you in the previous videos, that in this video number 3 and 4, I am going to discuss different figures of speech. We find that figures of speech are employed by authors even if they are writing poem or prose. They very systematically or they very beautifully make use of different figures of speech. What is a figure of speech? In simple terms, we can say that a figure of speech is a remarkable way of saying something. And it is a mistake to understand that only stylists make use of figures of speech in the writing. In fact, in our day-to-day life also, many times we make use of figures of speech. For example, we simply make use of the expressions like the laughing fields or the smiling fields or the story is as old as the hills. So here we are making use of figures of speech. Now in these two videos, in this third video, first we will discuss 11 figures of speech and the remaining 12 we will discuss in video number 4. A figure of speech is a departure from the ordinary form of expression or the ordinary course of ideas in order to produce a greater effect. It is a technique or an expression which creates a special effect by taking language beyond literal sense. Figures of speech are also known as rhetorical devices. They often provide emphasis, freshness of expression or clarity. In this first video on the figures of speech, we are going to study 11 figures of speech. These are simile, metaphor, personification, onomatopoeia, metonymy, irony, hyperbole, epigram, antithesis, climax and anticlimax. Let's start with simile. The word simile means likeness. It comes from the Latin word similes, S-I-M-I-L-I-S, meaning like, and it means likeness. In a simile, comparison is made between two objects of different kinds which have, however, at least one point in common. In other words, a likeness between two different things is stated in an explicit way using the words as or like or so, etc. For example, Tilak was brave as a lion. She is as proud as a peacock. Oh, my love is like a red, red rose. Metaphor. A metaphor is an implied simile. It does not state that one thing is like another or acts as another, but takes that for granted and proceeds as if the two things were one. In short, in metaphor, a comparison between two different things is implied but not clearly stated. Thus, when we say, "He fought like a lion," we use a simile. But when we say, "He was a lion in the fight," we use a metaphor. For example, Tilak was a lion. The camel is the ship of the desert. Life is a dream. Revenge is a kind of wild justice. Personification. In personification, inanimate objects and abstract notions are spoken of as if they were persons or human beings and they have life and intelligence. In personification, abstract ideas and inanimate notions are invested with personality and are endowed with the attributes of the living beings. For example, the tree was shedding tears. Opportunity knocks at the door but once. Here, opportunity is treated as a human being. Then, Death lays his icy hand on kings. Now, onomatopoeia. This figure of speech, onomatopoeia, signifies the use of a word that is formed from the sound it is intended to represent. It is a figure of speech in which the sounds of the words convey the sense. In other words, it is the property of a word of sounding like what it represents. Words like thud, boom, bow bow, etc. These are the examples of onomatopoeia. Some more examples: hiss for the sound of the snake, gurgle of a bell, ding dong, etc. Metonymy. The word metonymy means substitution of name. In metonymy, an object is designated by the name of something which is generally associated with it. For example, the word crown is used instead of the king, the bench for the judges. The pen is mightier than the sword. It means writing is mightier than fighting. Irony. By this figure of speech, we say one thing when we mean just the opposite. Irony is a mode of speech in which the real meaning is exactly the opposite of that which is literally conveyed. It is a statement or expression whose intended meaning is quite the contrary to the apparent or literal meaning. Obviously, we praise someone, but what mean is blame or ridicule. For example, no doubt, but ye are the people, and wisdom shall die with you. Here, though the speaker appears to be praising the persons spoken of, he actually is making fun of them or he is ridiculing them. But Brutus says he was ambitious and Brutus is an honorable man. This is a very famous example of irony from Shakespeare's Julius Caesar. Now let's study hyperbole. By this figure, things are represented as greater or less than they really are. In hyperbole, a statement is made emphatic by overstatement. Hyperbole is exaggeration, suggesting that something is the strongest, the best, the greatest, which of course distorts the truth. For example, why, man, if the river were dry, I am able to fill it with tears. Another example comes from Shakespeare's Macbeth. Here's the smell of blood still. All the perfumes of Arabia will not sweeten this little hand. Epigram. Epigram is a brief, sharp, witty and polished saying giving expression to a striking thought. In other words, an epigram is a brief pointed saying frequently introducing antithetical ideas which excite surprise and arrest attention. For example, cowards die many times before their deaths. A statement by Shakespeare is a fantastic example of epigram. Then, art lies in concealing art. Another fine example comes from Oscar Wilde. I can resist everything but temptation. Antithesis. In antithesis, a striking opposition or contrast of words or sentiments is made in the same sentence. It is an arrangement of words or phrases designed to stress contrasts or opposites. For example, man proposes, God disposes. Speech is silver, but silence is golden. To err is human, to forgive divine. Let's now see what climax is. Climax is a Greek term meaning a ladder. Climax is the arrangement of a series of ideas in order of increasing importance. It is the text leading up to an event, phrase, mood, or feeling of importance in prose or poetry. For example, to gossip is a fault, to libel a crime, to slander a sin. The very famous statement again by Shakespeare. Another example we have simple, erect, severe, austere, sublime. The last figure of speech in this video is anticlimax. It is the opposite of climax. It is a sudden descent from higher to lower. It is a sudden fall from a lofty to a mean, from an elevated to a commonplace subject, producing a ridiculous effect. In short, it is used to create a humorous effect. For example, the soldier fights for glory and a shilling a day. Another example, at one fell swoop, he lost his wife, his children, his houses, and his dog. Dear friends, I hope you find this video useful for you. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe this video. See you in the next video with the remaining figures of speech. Till then, goodbye. Thank you.